Have a seat on your porcelain throne. It's time to talk some shit on the Powell Movement.
Welcome to the Powell Movement. I'm your host, Mike Powell, and this week it's going to be a totally different episode for me. It's part traveling, with me documenting my trip to Jackson Hole with the Outside Life crew. That's the second part of this podcast. The first part of the podcast is me doing something that I should have been doing for years, covering events that happen in Seattle. Why? Because when it comes to snow cities, sure, there's something to be said for Colorado and Utah, but if you want to get a shit ton of heavy hitters to come together to build community, especially in snowboarding, have your event in Seattle. Build it and the people will come. At least that's how the snowboard side works in this city, and it's fucking awesome the community that snowboarding has here. Sure, there are plenty of ski movie premieres and other ski events and people show up to them in droves, but it's different. The event I went to on Friday night, the Common Line, really highlighted the difference between ski and snowboard events. I mean, it was all the brands and all the people there, not there to hawk their wares by any means, but just to support everybody, to talk about snowboarding and see what everybody could do to just not make snowboarding better, but just celebrate snowboarding amongst friends, peers, and everybody within the industry. It really was something amazing. I mean, ski events for me in this city, they're really cool to go and see friends that you don't always see, but that's about it. And while skiing is an awesome activity, the lifestyle element is what's missing compared to what I consistently see at snowboard events or shows in the snowboard world. And I will say, the reason for me getting out and going to snowboard events or shows by myself is that I can't stay home anymore. While it was easy to go out a lot in the summer and forget about all the sadness I've been going through, and if you're new, the sadness is all around my wife dying in June, it's a lot harder for me to go out every night in the winter because it's so dark and gloomy here and it just reminds me of sad times. So I've been going through it, and the other day I was like, you know what? I can't sit home and not go out because I don't want to have conversations about Ange with folks, because that's what happens. People bring her up, I get upset, I cry, and that sucks. But I can't be afraid to go out because of that, so I just have to do it, right? So these events are a way of me forcing myself out of my personal misery, and you know what? I didn't cry either night this weekend. So I'll call it a win. I actually had a good time, I feel like. And that's a long-winded intro, and now it's time to start the podcast. But before we start the show off, and the show is going to be different than ones before, I've told you that. But before we start the show off, I want to wish each and every one of you a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festivus, whatever you celebrate. I hope it's awesome and you're surrounded by family. I also want to thank all of you for listening each and every week. I want to thank you for the support this year. I've gotten so many emails from strangers and people that have become friends over the years going through this shit that I've been going through, and I've really felt the love. So thank you so much for that. Thank you also for telling a friend about the show. And finally, and most importantly, please support my incredible sponsors who make this podcast happen. I am talking about Elan Skis, Outdoor Research, Best Day Brewing, Stanley, Thermic Heated Socks, and Ski Idaho. Now it is time to get onto my journey of going to Jackson Hole, but before that, we are going to head to a snowboard event at Tactics in Seattle. All right, I'm back from my event, and I'm going to start putting this to the computer for the podcast. So I went to the Common Line, which was an event that this French guy threw, this incredible French artist. I looked him up on Instagram. He's got some incredible shit going on. I should be able to tell you his name, but I'm not going to do that off the top of my head, so I'm not going to go back to my phone right now. But the event is at Tactics Skate Shop in Seattle. A shop I've stayed away from since they opened in Seattle. And why? Well, a while back, I moderated a speaker panel event. And one of the marketing people from the shop, they were on stage and they were chuckling at one of their peers' competitors when they answered a question that I asked about being inclusive. And that person was talking about an event that their shop was running and that they included quad and derby skaters, and the event was wildly successful, and it was including other people that really elevated everything skateboarding included, and they sold a lot more of everything. And this marketing person kind of gave a smug look and almost clowned it, and they were like, we would never support anything quad or inline related, and pretty much made it known that inline was definitely not going to be supported by Tactics. Well, if you know me, you know my inline roots, and you also know that this is the stupid shit that pisses me off. The funny part of the whole deal was that I found out, because I do my research, that the girl that talked shit on blading, and really she didn't even talk total shit on blading, but that's how I internalize it, well, she doesn't even skateboard. I mean, in my mind, in this day and age of people saying they care about mental health and shit like that, for someone to be making fun of someone for doing what they're passionate about is something that I just don't understand, and it's totally counterproductive to the fake inclusive vibe that they project. Did I just say all of that in my intro? Well, I think I did, and it's going to stay in there. But at the end of the day, I respect Tactics. They do great shit for skate and snowboard. And they are the cool kids. It's one of those places that you can feel that. And that's rad. Snowboarding is lucky to have them. And so while I'll never buy anything from Tactics, I will thank them for hosting a great event. And snowboarders and skateboarders, you should definitely buy from Tactics because they do support everything that you're all about. And speaking of skateboard, this week was huge. I don't know about your social media, but my feed is filled up with Chris Jocelyn tray flipping El Toro, and that is just amazing. I think I've watched it like 100 times, and it never gets old. If you haven't seen it, go check out that clip. It is insane. But back to the common line, this is a panel event with so many legends. Think pros like Bodie Merrill, Hannah Beeman, photographers Tim Zimmerman and Colin Wiseman, company founders like Blue Montgomery, Joe Sexton, industry legends like Pat motherfucking Bridges, and so many others. I saw Peter Aline in the crowd. Johan from C3 was there. So many heads, and it was a packed house. There was a live art element, and then those boards were raffled off, which was a really cool way to do a raffle instead of your traditional call a number, win a snowboard, no art on it, whatever. There was also gift bags for everyone that was there. I mean, it was really a well-done event. And my plan was to get there, scope out the scene, see what the vibe was like, and see if I could line up some interviews and get some sound bites before the panels of speakers. Interview-wise, I got Hannah Beeman to commit to doing a part 2. Last time Hannah and I chatted, it was 9 years ago. We were at Wendell's camp, and I told Hannah that if she was getting paid to snowboard in 10 years, I would give her $20. So when I saw Hannah, I walked up, and all I had was $10 on me. I walked up to her, and I was like, Hannah, are you still getting paid to snowboard? She looked at me, and she's like, yes. And then I handed her my 2 5s, and she remembered exactly what I was talking about. Which is so cool because throughout this podcast, given Hannah and I aren't great friends by any means, but we're friends. Like if we walk down the street, she knows who I am, I know who she is, and it's all through this podcast. So it's cool that a lot of my heroes and people that I've respected through just skiing and snowboarding have all become close with me through, I guess, my job and my podcast, whatever. But super cool, and I'm stoked on that. Where am I going with this? Let's see. Other than the community event that seemed to be on display compared to ski events, the other main difference is that snowboard events don't start on time, which was great because it gave me some extra time to get some sound bites, which is always an uncomfortable thing to do for me at an event, but it's part of the game. I mean, I'm the only one at this snowboard event, and I'm like the only skier at this snowboard event, and I feel like you can actually see that I'm a skier and nobody else is. And I've got my phone in people's faces and I'm asking them questions, and they're the people that are on the panel. So it's a weird thing. I'm the only one getting content there outside of the Tactics event, but it's uncomfortable, but part of what I do. So I did that. One of the common threads of conversation, see what I did there, was the lack of snow in the Pacific Northwest at the moment. At this event, it's mostly industry lifers, and everyone has experienced this before and is over complaining about it. But you know me, I still asked about it. And I started out with former Powell Movement guest, one of the dudes that helped usher in the smaller, more tech era of snowboarding, the more fun era of snowboarding to the world, really. I'm talking about one of the legends behind Think Tank and a desk jockey at Mervyn, Jesse Burtner. And Jesse and I chat about the event, snow or lack thereof. Jesse Burtner, we're here at Tactics. What are you guys doing here?
Nobody knows. No, we're doing the Common Line.
Which is a panel of a bunch of people, and you're going to talk about community snowboarding and how to build it back up.
You said it, buddy.
All right. Well, I read your questionnaire, and I was able to figure it out. Right now, the thing with snowboarding that's hard is actually snowboarding because there's no snow anywhere. And for you, being from a brand, what does that do to the temperature of the business in snowboarding?
Well, it's always a little bit nerve-wracking when it doesn't snow because we're snow farmers. But winter finds a way, and we find winter. So I'm not worried about it. We'll be shredding soon enough.
For you guys, is it like you've already sold in all your boards and stuff, and now you have to make sure your dealers are selling through their boards so they don't have to worry about shit?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. We live in this place where the snow isn't guaranteed, so usually a couple regions check in strong and help the other regions that aren't doing so good. So it's always a give and take with who's getting snow and who isn't. So this year the East Coast is crushing right now. Midwest is turned on, other places have turned on, Europe's turned on, so, we'll get ours here pretty quick, 6 days.
And when we say we'll get ours, how about you getting yours? Are you going to be able to travel a shit ton and get to snowboard a lot, or do you have to be at a desk all the time?
I'm going to travel, not a shit ton, but I'm going to travel a tiny bit, but I'll snowboard every week, and that's what I want. Yeah, I don't need to travel, I did that, that was awesome. I like being here and shredding Snoqualmie with my kid and my wife and filming little micro tricks and just letting snowboarding meet me where I'm at.
What's cool about Jesse is he's one of those unassuming dudes that you wouldn't look at and think that dude is one of the most creative minds in snowboarding, like actually doing tricks and shit. And he kills it on a skateboard too. But at first glance, he could be confused with the computer programmer at Microsoft who wears cool clothing. No ego, no pretentiousness, just a good dude. And he came up in snowboarding with Jason Borgstead. He was a little bit younger and they made movies together, and eventually they had a falling out or a miscommunication or who really knows. But they weren't making movies together anymore, and they weren't spending a lot of time together anymore. I asked both of them in their respective interviews about this, quote, falling out, and if they would ever proverbially kiss and make up. And while I don't think I'm the reason why they reconnected, even though I want to believe that, I'm pretty sure they did reconnect, but you know what? I should really fact check my shit on this one because I'm not 100% sure, but I'm not fact checking it. And if you guys haven't kissed and made up, well, I'm sorry for making shit up here. And be friends again already. Life is too short to hold grudges over stupid shit. While Jesse has a ton of snowboard history, Pat the Eye Bridges is the true historian of snowboard history and culture. At least in my eyes, there might be others, whatever. Pat's a magazine guy by trade, but he plays in all media, events, and everything snowboarding. And while I'm still kicking myself for starting my podcast off with snowboard episodes instead of ski episodes, and the way I did it, I was going to start out with like a snowboard episode, which was Jeremy Jones in my first episode. And then I was like, oh, I'll put a business episode right after that, and that'll be snowboard focused too. So instead of my ski focused podcast starting with a ski episode, I started with Jeremy Jones as number 1, and the number 2 guest ever was Pat the Eye Bridges. Pat was in town to moderate the event and spread the Slush magazine gospel and catch up with everybody that was there, which is the who's who of snowboarding, it felt like. And I had a chat with Pat, and I got a bonus with longtime photographer and writer of The Frequency or the Snowboard Journal, Colin Wiseman. As he and Pat were chatting it up before they jumped on a panel, I got time with them both.
So I'm here with the 2 magazine guys in snowboarding, right? I've got Pat Bridges, Colin Wiseman. I probably say your last name wrong, and that's okay. But in terms of the magazine business, last time you and I talked on the podcast, it was like 10 years ago, because I'm going on my 10-year anniversary. You were with like Snowboarder Mag now. You started Slush Mag since then. How's the print business going?
Well, print's great. I mean, we're in a unique position. We deal with so many stores and so many subscribers. So, I don't really have anything to gauge it against because this is a whole different avenue than where I came from.
And when we think about it, it's like, I see myself, I'll still read a magazine, but I look at my kid and he's not going to probably ever subscribe to one, which is weird, but that's just not him. So are you guys just marketing and creating content for 35 and up?
No. We do market to kids, but since your kid doesn't know how to read, obviously, he's not within our demographic. No, you'd be surprised. We have a lot of kids in the mix and stuff. And again, it's because we work with so many stores. Slush is free at 260 stores in North America, and so the stores work with us to drive people into the door to get a magazine. And we're one of the only outlets that's really just trying to unify the whole snowboarding community, whether you like free riding, whether you like jibbing, whether you like jumping, or however you identify, wherever you live. You know, we say with Slush, not everything's going to be for everyone, but there'll be something for everybody. So with that approach, we've found a lot of success. And yes, it's a journey for people to find Slush and become a subscriber or even a reader. But there is a devout audience still out there that wants the printed mag, and we provide it.
All right. Well, thank you for your time here. Colin, I will ask you a couple questions. Well, you guys have both been in the industry for how long? You're 20 years now?
Yeah, coming up.
So 20 years in the industry, and from when you started, print was everything, and now print is you and pretty much Pat, and I don't know who else in snowboarding right now.
There's a lot of it going on.
There's King Snow, there's Torment, and then
Okay,
when we
yeah.
go to Europe, there's a few mags.
There's snowboard,
Garage mags,
club
snowboard
sandwich. A
When-
lot of it in Japan.
method.
Yeah.
So I guess there's a lot more print than I'm
Yeah, I
thinking
think
about.
not reading magazines is more of a you problem than an us problem.
Yeah, I love magazines, and I used to subscribe to everything that was out there.
Yeah, Hustler, Cherry,
No,
Menace.
that's like Blunt, and that's where I got Pat the Eye from like Snowboarder or something like that back then, and I was like all into that shit. And I still love magazines, so I still read your stuff. But how has the whole sport changed for you in the past 20 years? I mean, the sport obviously is not going to change, but like just the business of snowboarding.
snowboarding goes through waves, and it's more driven by snowfall than anything. I haven't seen our print program change that much. It's kind of been on the steady up and up ever since I've been working at the Snowboarders Journal. Like, yeah, there are people that love to read and they like a depth of story that goes beyond what you can get for free on the internet with a sales pitch attached to it.
Yeah.
And plenty of people still want to pay for that and support it.
And I think it's important to say, like, you know, for Sledge in particular, we meet the audience where the audience is at. If you get your snowboarding through YouTube, we have our Videographs movies. If you get it through social media, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, newsletters. You just meet the audience where the audience is. And with that, you know, that people say print's dead. It's not dead. It just can't live on its own. So you do experiential events like what we're doing here tonight, and you just meet the audience where the audience is.
And I would say you guys are, you know, the powerhouses within it. You're kind of the core, and you're the quarterly that's been around forever. That, I mean, the core looks at too, but it's more beautiful journalism and photos. And you're kind of what's going on right now every week, it seems like. Do you guys talk about each other in meeting rooms about what's going on, or is it like you're just carving your own paths?
Well, I mean, we have talked every now and then, but I mean, I think particularly in this day and age where everybody can work remote, we're all just living our snowboarding lives and speaking to the people we speak to.
Yeah, I see Stan a lot more than I see Pat. Just being at events and stuff. You know, Stan's kind of the guy who's at the events. But, you know, we're all exchanging ideas, and I mean, that's kind of what this event's about, is exchanging ideas. And yeah, if we're all working together and speaking to each other, it's only going to be better.
Well, and bear in mind, you know, the founder of Funny Feelings,
Yeah,
Jeff
you don't
Goldbreath,
see him very many
you
places
know,
like
no,
that.
I mean, I worked for Jeff, then Jeff worked for me, and now we both have our own mags, you know.
Now, I love magazines, and I can take jokes about my kid not reading, but you know what? I don't believe what they're saying to be true. A lot of kids are buying magazines. I know a lot of adults are buying magazines, and they're using their readers to read them. But kids, come on, go to an airport, look for a kid reading a magazine. While I know print ain't dead, I do know it's not making a big resurgence amongst the youth of today. But what would I know? I only own a 16-year-old. Anyways, the final person I chatted with is one of those interesting lifers in the snow biz who really blazed his own trail with a vision that's responsible for some of the most cool and important snowboard events over the years. And I've known Krush Cruzilla forever, but not really well. Not well enough for me to be able to pronounce his last name right, which I'm sure I just murdered right there. But him and his wife Smiley are some of the nicest and unassumingly cool people that you'll meet in snowboarding, and it's been neat to see Krush build his Snowboy Productions over the years from a small little entity to something that kind of defines what amazing events are in the snowboard world in the US and probably beyond, but I'm familiar with the US ones, so it was cool to get a minute with Krush.
Krush, we're here at Tactics Ski, or not a ski shop, because they don't do anything ski, and you don't do anything ski. Why not?
Tried 3 years. We got the receipts on it. But this is a deep cut, but when I started at Summit at Snoqualmie, Snowboy had already been around for 4 years. I spent 10 years at Qualms. I was fighting to add a ski event, at least if we did a Saturday snowboard, at least a ski side to that. So the very first years, there were always multiple ski events that happened. I was told by my corporate bosses at the time to never even focus on skiing because they would just follow what snowboarding did 3 years before. I thought that was kind of whack. So we kept doing things, but like the long and short of it is like no ski company has ever, we've been doing this for 28 years, I've never been approached by a ski company to do something. I don't ski myself, so I don't speak for, it's not my lifestyle specifically, but we've put out the line for years and years, and there was just, the ski industry hadn't ever reached out or shown interest in getting involved with what we were doing.
It's time for my first round of sponsors, and Ski Idaho is back this season, and if you haven't skied in Idaho, then you're missing the best kept ski secret in the nation. Think 19 uncrowded ski areas with epic terrain that all get a ton of snow. In Idaho, you'll ski a lot more than you're waiting in line, and they really have something for everyone. When you visit Idaho, resorts like Sun Valley, Grand Targhee, Schweitzer, Silver, and Tamarack offer that on-mountain lodging experience, and there are so many other mountains to choose from throughout the state. Between the snow, the terrain, the award-winning restaurants, and experiences like horse-drawn sleigh rides, indoor water parks, spa skating, guided snowshoeing, and so much more, I'm not kidding when I say there really is something for everyone this winter in Idaho. And if you haven't heard about the 5th and 6th grade passport program that allows kids to ride multiple times at each resort for only $29, you need to check it out. It's worth visiting Idaho just for that. To find out more about the passport program and all things skiing in Idaho, head on over to skiidaho.us. Next up, it's outdoor research. And if you haven't checked out outdoorresearch.com in the past week or so, then you haven't seen the brand new winter line, which looks incredible. I could spend a lot of this ad telling you all the tech and why outdoor research is better, but know that in the 1980s and the early 90s, outdoor research built a reputation on functional quality outdoor gear that pushed the limits of innovative possibilities. And those who were function first were all about OR gear because it was and it still is built better, and outdoor research is still pushing those limits of innovation. This year, the outerwear focuses on 3 new collections: the Cloud Chaser for backcountry and the Powderverse and Hemisphere collections for freeride, as well as some staples in the line like the Snow Crew collection. These outerwear systems are styled for and by athletes like Mark Adma, Troy Podmilsack, Zoe Aitken, snowboarder Neil Provo, and others, and that's why this outerwear collection not only looks so good, but each piece is more functional than ever, and they're all you're going to need in any conditions. To find out more about the new collection, head on over to outdoorresearch.com. My final sponsor this round is Best Day Brewing, and now is the time to think snow. And skiers, snowboarders, weekend warriors, tubers, sledders, snowbikers, snowmobilers, snowshoers, sled doggers, shovel racers, snow angel makers, ice skaters, snowball fighters, igloo builders, you get it. The doers of winter are starting to get ready to shred, and post-shred, it's all about après. And this year, do après the right way. Forget about the calories, forget about the alcohol, forget about not taking more runs on the mountain, forget about getting in trouble on the way home, because with a beer from Best Day Brewing, you don't have to worry about any negative consequences. Just incredible flavor. Blind taste tests prove that you won't be able to taste the difference between a Best Day and your favorite beer with alcohol. The only difference you'll notice is how good you'll feel in the morning, and you're going to remember what you did last night, which is almost refreshing as a Best Day itself. To celebrate your best day yet, next time you're at the store, pick up a 6-pack of Best Day. Or you can always buy it on your Alaska Airlines flight, Amazon.com, or head on over to bestdaybrewing.com to get the full assortment of Best Days. Those are my sponsors. Now it's time to jump back into the podcast. A few minutes after I chatted with Krush, the panel event started, and while I wanted to sit through this, it seemed like I was listening to one of my podcasts over and over, and I left pretty early. I will say, the community building and art part afterwards, which I missed, but I saw a lot of content online, looked really, really rad. And the Common Line, that is one of the best events I've been to in a long time that didn't actually involve snowboarding or skiing. It was just an event bringing culture and people together. They did a really, really good job. The next event on my radar was the next night I went to Daryl's in Shoreline to see some live music. Who'd I go see? So Adam Yu, he's a good friend. He's been a Powell Movement guest. He's an athlete I used to sponsor. He's in this punk rock band, Krontonamo, and they are awesome, and I've always wanted to see them, and they're coming 45 minutes away from my house. So I made the trek up north, and I was able to catch up with Adam. So we were outside of Daryl's Tavern up here in Shoreline, Washington. I'm with Adam Yu. Last time we spoke and had a long conversation, it was like 2023. You were going through like a heavy time in your life. You had come back from Japan. Kyle Smain had died on that trip. You were right there. You were buried in an avalanche. You thought you were going to die at that point. And you were in a dark place back then. We've been talking. How are you doing now?
A differently dark place for different reasons, but I mean, there's definitely still light around. It is deep winter in Washington, so there's plenty of darkness around. But yeah, I mean, turns out life is tough, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on that you can't control, and I'm trying to figure out and learn how to let go of the things I can't control. So a lot of therapy, lots of therapy.
And on the fun side of life, because that's not the fun side of life there, that's the real side of life. but you're a guy who spends his life on boats searching for whales and doing all kinds of marine biology things. What were you doing this summer? I know you only worked for like 1 month this year, but you've got a charmed life like that. What was September like for you?
Oh, so September was pretty sweet. I was down in Mexico. I was working in the northern Gulf of California with a really amazing team of scientists, and there's a species of porpoise called the vaquita. They are extremely critically endangered. There's like probably we found 7 to 10, and that's pretty much the entire number of those critters on the planet.
Oh, wow.
They only live up in this northern Gulf of California. They're like the most endangered marine mammal on the planet. I've been involved with this research project for about 10 years. This was my 4th trip down there. And we found what we were looking for. We found anywhere between 7 to 10. It's kind of hard to tell exactly, but we did our stats numbers stuff, and we got 7 to 10. More importantly, probably 1, maybe 2 calves, which is a huge big deal because it shows they're still reproducing. And even one of the animals we know is a female, and we have some drone footage that shows that she might be pregnant, which is another huge win, because when you only have 7 to 10, any increase is a big deal.
It's fun to watch the passion on your face as you're talking about these porpoises impregnating each other or, having a future with calves inside them. But then your other passion is skiing, and you've been a pro skier for, 25 years?
20-ish. I mean, pro is always in air quotes. But I've been doing sort of media stuff and working at it for, I guess, over 20 years.
Well, I mean, in the terms of your life, you've always had a real job,
Yeah.
and then you've had skiing too. So skiing never had to be the main source of income. So it could be your passion, and you were able to do stuff as well. Do you still have ski sponsors?
I mean, I'm still working with a bunch of brands. As far as paying sponsors, they're getting fewer and farther between. I mean, I think everyone's very aware at how the ski industry is kind of struggle busing these days. And let's put it, I'm 47, and when it comes to people, a brand or a company wanting to support the up and coming, which the young folks these days are phenomenal. I get so inspired watching them. But let's get real. I don't bounce anymore. Everything hurts. So if you want to get someone doing cutting edge stuff, you're not looking at me. I do still have a lot of relationships with folks that are looking for, say, like a mentorship role, which I've been around the block. I can do that better than a 20-year-old can because they don't know what's coming at them. And that's where I think my true calling at this point in my career is helping the younger folks navigate what are going to be uncharted waters for them.
And I think a lot of it is just the relationships that you've built, because I think your whole career has been befriending and working well with great photographers who appreciate your ability to ski for them and working like in synchronicity with them and getting great photos. That's a recipe for a ski career, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a photographer. I mean, these days there's not a lot of outlets for photographs, but yeah, maybe a cinematographer or, I mean, let's just put it this way. There's nothing you can do as a single individual. You need to have a collaboration with a writer or a media person or a team. It's all about a team. You can't just go out there being yourself. Travis Rice has a team. Everyone has a team. You got to be part of a team. You got to be able to work as a part of a team. And whether it's a photographer, a media person, anyone, you can't just be yourself top dog. You need to have people supporting you, and you need to be supporting them as well.
I totally agree with you. We are here at Daryl's. Like I said, you're about to play a punk rock show, and I've listened to your band, Krontonamo. I made your stickers, and people can buy stickers from me at mike.powell@diecutstickers.com. Might as well throw that in there right there. But I've been listening to the band for a couple years, and then you guys get here. I meet like the singer guy who's like talking about the songs he wrote. I'm like, are you going to play the song I like the most, Bleeding from Her Vulva, which is a questionable song title, but either way, love the song. And you guys are like, no. I'm like, that's the song everyone likes the most. And you asked me why I know everyone likes it the most, because I have great taste in what I think everyone likes, and it might not be great, but are you guys going to be able to play it for me?
I mean, I'm one of 4. Again, the band is a team. And not only is our band a team, but we are a team with 3 other bands. So we got to be Johnny on the spot. If we have time, I will lobby for it hard, but it's not up to me.
You're saying you're not going to cut a song and put in your best song. You're going to give me not your best stuff.
We're going to give you our new stuff. We were just talking about this, and we were like, yeah, the deep cuts, which are kind of ridiculous because no one knows any of them anyways. But, we've been playing that one for a long time. We love it. It's a classic. It's a staple. But if you come up to Glacier on December 20th, we'll be playing at China 9. It'll be in that set because we have an hour. Here we only have 25 minutes, so we have to do some picking and choosing. There's got to be some triage. And we got to respect the other 3 bands that have also come from lots of places, and we can't bogart all the time.
Well, there we go.
We're going to do our best, but I can't guarantee.
All right, I drove 45 minutes to hear one song, and I probably won't hear it, but thank you for talking to me, Adam. This is great. I love Adam Yu, and while he always seems so happy-go-lucky, like everyone, he's got shit that he's dealing with too, and he's been good about reaching out and communicating with me about it, and I think the reason is that I'm going through shit too, and I've been pretty open about it on this podcast, and that makes him feel comfortable being open with me. I'm not sure where I'm going with this. Actually, who cares? Where I went is even better. Jackson Hole, Wyoming. The last time I was there, I was 13 years old, and my grandparents, Mimi and Dannon, the Buckhanses, they bought me a trip on a teen tour for my bar mitzvah. And what's a teen tour? Well, think 50 Jewish kids traveling on buses and planes all over the US and Canada to the coolest spots in the world. I bought my first Too Short tape and Public Enemy tape on this trip. I got my ear pierced, and it was an incredible, life-changing trip, and I went to Jackson Hole for the first and only time until I got a call from a group called Outside Life who wanted to order stickers from me. And as we were going through the sticker process, I was like, what do you guys actually do? And when they explained their business to me, I was like, shit, you shouldn't only buy stickers from me. You should take me on one of your trips, and I'll promote you on my podcast, and it is going to be amazing. And they were like, you know what? You're right. So we worked out a deal, and the deal is I give them promotion on the podcast, I do a show around the Jackson trip, and they do a lot of things for me. But really, what I come to find out is the dude, my contact, Austin, he's a podcast listener, he knows my journey, and while he's bringing me out because I'll add value, he was really doing it because he thought I deserved a mini vacation. I found out all of this later, and it was really cool of Austin to do, but when I fly into Jackson, Austin's picking me up from the airport, and I don't know what to expect. And what I find is like what I find with everyone in this industry for the most part. Austin is an awesome dude, and we head straight to the $1 Million Cowboy Bar, have a few beers, and become fast friends. Then I head back to the cabin that they rented me, crashed, and we headed up to the mountain in the morning. It's rocky out there, and I wasn't going to bring my skis all the way to Jackson for one day of skiing, so I had lined up a pair of skis through Griffin Post. He was going to give me a Kesley pair of demo skis, and then I texted Griffin right before I was heading out. I was like, hey man, I don't think I want to use your skis. It looks kind of rocky out there right now, and I don't want to ruin your skis. Well, I feel like I cursed myself by even thinking that ahead of time, but then I texted Austin. I'm like, hey, can I get some skis through Outside Life? Because I saw they did that on their website. And he's like, sure, dude, got you no problem, and I got you the insurance as well. And boom, that was awesome. So I get the skis that Austin had set me up with, and then we jump into the gondola with a few other people, and Austin tells me a little bit about Outside Life. So I'm here with Austin at Outside Life. And Austin, what is Outside Life and what are we doing here?
So Outside Life is the premier ski and snowboard tour company. We work with just about every college ski club in the nation, including ski clubs. We got fraternities, sororities, MBAs. We really do all things college. But then we also work with heli operations and backcountry guided operations. And we have Japan trips, Patagonia trips, you name it, we got it.
So you told us what Outside Life's all about, but you take a lot of people on trips, and when I say a lot of people, it's 25,000 people you're taking skiing every year. Is there anybody else in the world that takes more people on ski trips than you guys?
I don't think so. We put a lot of hard work into perfecting what we do and showing people a good time, bringing them out when they otherwise wouldn't, We've got people from all around the country who just want to have a good time and experience skiing and snowboarding when they otherwise wouldn't know where to start. And so we'll put on events for them. Like tomorrow, we've got West End DJing at the base of Jackson Hole, and Mike, you're going to be emceeing for us.
So you're getting all these people out here to show them a good time, but really, you've got 800 college kids, and you are the responsible party for all of these kids. And I know when I was in college, if I were to come on a trip like this, I would want to drink a lot of beer and have a lot of fun. I've got a stranger in the gondola with me. Would you like to do the same thing?
Those are 3 of my favorite activities.
All right.
Or 2.
Okay, it doesn't matter. 2
of my favorite activities.
Okay, so we know that this is a fun thing. What is the craziest thing that you've had to deal with? Because whenever a phone call comes from the police, does it come to you?
I mean, yeah, that's happened a lot for sure. And, it's all about finding the balance, right? We want these kids to have a good time. I know the town wants them to have a good time, but we do everything in our power to certainly, keep them safe and make sure that they're having a good time out here in a responsible way. But yeah, we've dealt with some crazy stuff. There's no doubt. I think, you come to expect the unexpected. And oh man, probably the craziest thing we've ever seen was one time a bus was transporting people from the Midwest all the way out here, and it caught on fire and it burned down everything. It burned down their equipment, burned down, the bus, and then they were stranded in the middle of nowhere. But what are you gonna do, except deal with it? And we found a way. We were able to make people feel whole and feel taken care of by outside life. We got them a new bus, of course, to finish their journey, but we also were able to replace their stuff in that particular situation. It was just a group effort of everyone, all the minds at Outside Life, who come together to ensure the succession of ski culture in the college community.
Well, you have to take care of your clients, and what you've told me is that you have 98% market share, which anybody who's listening to this in any industry anywhere in the world, if you have 98% market share, you are absolutely crushing it. So you're the authority in trips in the world, right?
I mean, for the U.S. ski market in college, I would absolutely say that we just have an A-list team together. We've all been in this for a long time and know how to run a successful trip all over the country and all over the world. We take people to Patagonia, Japan, Europe, but we've had relationships in the industry in North America for a very long time and are able to perfect what we do. And we have just, like I said, an A-list team that can really make shit happen and make the kids yearn for more skiing.
All right, well, what the audience yearns for more chaos and pandemonium and things that have happened on the trip that has made your life a nightmare. And what is the one call that you've gotten and you're like, holy shit, these kids are fucking idiots. I can't believe I have to solve the situation. But what is that situation?
I mean, I think the worst one for sure, I'm not going to disclose any personal information, but there once was a number 2 taken outside of the group sale director, their office. It was pretty blatant. And
So wait, you get a phone call saying, hey, someone took a shit and put it in front of the group sales office. What happens from there?
We can do what we can do. We can control what we can control, and that's not really anything that we have any say in. If someone wants to just take a number 2, it's not like we can stop them from that. So we found a way to smooth it over. But yeah, that was probably like the most angry phone call anyone of us has ever received.
That's the perfect way to end that part of the chat. A Powell Movement story on the Powell Movement, and now it was time to go skiing, and just like in the K2 days, I'm the worst skier of our crew. While I'm okay, all of the Outside Life dudes spent a lot of time on snow. They were all the presidents of their college ski clubs, and they all rip. But I'm used to that. So I let them know that I'm going to get us in touch with Olympic gold medalist and arguably the greatest American downhiller ever, Tommy Moe, and get him to come ski with us. And they're like, no way. Actually, half of them didn't know who they were, but then one of the dudes definitely knew who Tommy was, and he was absolutely blown away, and that really excited the other guys. And while I had been talking a big game to the Outside Life crew, I was like, hey, I have all of these heroes that we're going to meet and we're going to hang out with this week. I hadn't delivered anything yet. So I was ready to have their minds blown, and I was ready to meet some people that I've interviewed before but never had a chance to meet in person. So I was excited. After we got back on the gondola after a lap, I texted Tommy, and I got another story out of Austin. We were able to hear some of the bad things that happen on these trips, and sometimes it's an accident, sometimes it's kids having too much fun, but then there's also heartwarming stories. What do you have for us there?
Yeah, so, it's always a mixed bag when it comes to all the vendors we hire out, like no one can predict a bus starting on fire, but at the same time, we've had some bus success stories. Like there was one time we had a bus stuck in Wamsutter, Wyoming on the way back to wherever they were from in the Midwest, and the road was closed due to high winds, and we had 50 kids stuck in little old Wamsutter. And shout out to the priest of Wamsutter. He opened his church for our kids, and they slept in the church overnight because there was no hotels. It was a tiny little town. Outside Life made the call to the priest, and he was more than happy to accommodate and hook up these kids for, a night of shelter in the middle of barren Wyoming. But, it's always a mixed bag when we're dealing with things outside of our control, and luckily there are good people out there who will, keep ski culture alive for us, for the young kids.
So parents, if you send your kids on one of these trips and all goes wrong, God will intervene. He will give you a place to stay, and all will be made right, so your kids are in good hands right there. It's time for my second round of sponsors, and I'm going to start out with Elan Skis. While some of us wish every day was a powder day, that's not reality. And that's where the Wingman and the Wildcat come into play for men and women. Think hard-charging front-side skis that are designed to make you remember how fun carving is. And they're still versatile enough where you won't want to go switch skis if it snows or it gets choppy out there. Like almost every Elan, these are both award-winning skis from reputable sources like Ski Magazine and others. And Wingman and Wildcat aren't only super fun to ski, but they're going to make you a better skier. And while you can find out about Wingman and Wildcat and the Playmaker series and Ripstick over at elanskis.com, the place where the knowledge about Elan skis and really everything in the industry is in your local ski shop. So go to one this fall, smell the wax and the P-Tex, flex the skis, and most importantly, talk to your local shop guy. The guy who's a real skier in there, and he can help you pick out what's best for you. So Elan wants you to support your local ski shop, and you can ask them what the right pair of Elans are for you. Next up, it's thermic heated socks. And when temperatures get nuclear cold, I don't hit the mountain without my thermic heated socks. They are the original heated sock, and still the industry leader after 20 years. It's a total game changer. We all know that if your feet are frozen, you're not skiing or snowboarding at your best. And if you are, you're suffering through it. I make sure that never happens by always wearing my thermic socks. Thermic's game-changing smart elastic technology heated socks are our world's first. These SET socks are a high-performance fitting, thin ski sock where the patented heating components have stretch instead of a bulky band and element. So you literally feel like you're wearing your normal favorite pair of performance ski socks. But if heat isn't for you, don't worry. Thermic has you covered with socks for winter with their athlete-tested and proven Descent line of socks. This is the #1 recommended sock by boot fitters in North America because for over a decade, Descent has engineered performance socks to eliminate things like chafing or heel blisters in your boots when you're touring or splitboarding. Descent socks have a distinct locked-on fit that never seems to change, no matter what you get up to. At the end of the day, Thermic and Descent socks are the go-to socks for the people that know. Drop into your local boot fitter and retailer and you'll see what I mean. My final sponsor this round is Stanley. And sure, you used to know Stanley for keeping your grandpa's coffee hot in that signature green water bottle. Well, they still make that iconic bottle, but Stanley is the talk of the world these days. And while they may have started with the Powell Movement, oh how they have grown. Nowadays, icons like Messi and Caitlin Clark and Post Malone and Olivia Rodrigo are all swearing by their Stanleys. And I've been telling you about how incredible their products are at keeping your drinks hotter and colder than anyone else for over 8 years now. I mean, Stanley invented the category in 1913, and they're constantly innovating to make sure that you have the best. And I know I love having the best. Lately, I've personally been drinking more water than ever thanks to my Stanley Quencher. And when I go to the mountain, I've integrated Stanley food storage devices into my ski routine instead of buying that $20 burger. But I have to say, my all-time favorite Stanley products are their pint glasses, which I've used every day for 8.5 years or so. Like millions of people out there, I love all my Stanley stuff, and I want you to get on the Stanley program too. They give me their best discount code available, so you get 30% off of all your products, and to do that, you head on over to stanley1913.com and you go shopping, buy a ton of stuff, because you're going to get 30% off of it when you check out and use the code Powell2025, so that's all capitals, Powell, no spaces, and then the numbers 2025, 2025. That's going to get you 30% off your Stanley products. Those are my sponsors. Now it's time to jump back into the podcast. Another couple laps, and it was time to meet up with Tommy. And oh my God, what an incredible human being that dude is. All 5 of us were blown away by his kindness, his enthusiasm, his knowledge of everything Jackson, and just how awesome and fun he was. Tommy noticed all the college kids in town, and there were 3 specific groups that were in town. There was Utah One Love, there was Boulder Freeride, and there was All Cal. And Tommy's daughter is part of Utah One Love, so he knew all about it, and he was definitely reminiscing about his younger days with us while we were on the chairlift, and he told some funny stories where we were all like, I love that guy, and I can't believe he just told us that story. Well, I didn't record any of that. I did get some good Tommy chat, and while I could have cut it out, I just played it till the end, but there are some really high winds that you'll hear at the end of this Tommy clip.
Tommy Mo, I finally get to meet you. We did like 3 hours on the telephone, and now we are meeting each other in person, man. Bony early season. You said you and your daughter, how are you guys feeling?
Pretty good. You know, Mike, we got some snow last week. We had a kind of a warm start to the season. They weren't really making too much snow because of the temps. And then actually last week we got a couple feet of snow. So they opened the mountain. The tram's not open yet, but Sublet and Thunder are open, and Casper. And we're out here having fun. It's pretty fun spring skiing for December.
Well, you're so positive, but a minute ago you said you and your daughter were grumpy and that you just needed to snow. How do you really feel?
We were grumpy this morning just because it was so warm at our house. Usually in Jackson this time of year it's like 10 or 15 degrees and the snow guns are cranking and it's freezing ass cold. But this year it's just been kind of a warm start, so they can't really even make snow. But the skiing that we have is actually, you know, kind of like corn, so it's like the season's flip-flop. We're starting with corn going into powder, I hope.
Isn't corn how you end the last season? Isn't it like Kings and Corn or whatever you guys do up there at Tordrillo?
Mike, yeah, we did that. We still do that trip. It's called Kings and Corn. We've been doing that since '98, and it's a combo fishing and skiing trip up at the Tordrillo Mountain Lodge.
And in that lodge, I mean, when Travis Rice wants to bring his crew to the gnarliest place for the best footage and the best terrain, that's the spot, right?
It's one of the better places in Alaska. You know, of course, you've got Valdez and Haines, and in the Tordrillos, the terrain there's unmatched. It's just, there's everything you want. It just depends on your ability. If you want steep spines and you know, rowdy terrain, we got it. If you want kind of, you know, mellower open bowls with good snow, we got it. And so it's not all about super dangerous. You know how in Alaska everything seems so gnarly, and at our place we just try to cater to what the skier likes.
But for sure, but when Travis comes out there with his natural selection crew and he wants the spot, you're like, we have 20 places for you to pick from.
He actually kind of found it himself, even a lot of those.
Okay.
Like the Wizard, and there's a few others that they named up there. They're just like the biggest, you know, gnarly runs you can imagine. 3,000 foot, I think, is the Wizard, and it's a spine line the whole way.
And you know, he grew up here. You've been here forever.
Yeah.
Have you known him since he was a child?
Travis Rice, you know, his parents were ski patrollers at Jackson Hole Mountain Resort, and Travis grew up snowboarding with the club here, and then took it to the highest. You know, the X Games and Big Air and Big Mountain riding, and just a class act. That guy's an amazing athlete.
Yeah, and then in thinking of your role at Tordrillo, are you an owner of that place?
Yeah. Mike Overcast, Mike Ream, and myself started at 2006. And we do winter skiing, February, March, April. And then we do summer fishing, skiing, rafting, hiking, June, July, August, September. So our summer business is starting to take off. It's awesome.
And how many heli ski days do you think you've had in your life?
Oh my goodness, that's a good question, Mike. You know, I say I probably do 20 to 30 weekends a season over 20 years. I'll probably get close to 1,000.
Oh man! All right, 1,000 heli days. I don't even want to calculate the cost, but when you're Tommy Mo, you ski helis as much as you want because people want to ski with you.
On a good day, you'll heli ski like 3 hours of Hobbs time. So you think about each day you do 3 hours, so 600. Yeah, I've done a couple thousand hours of heli ski time.
Wow.
Just riding in the heli, you know. But that's cut up between three groups. But we've done over 400 mountains with probably 1,200 first descents.
Thank you, Tommy Mo, for skiing with us. He is such a legend, and what cemented that even more was when we told people that we skied with Tommy, everyone was like, man, that guy is so great, right? I wonder if he's always been that cool, or if he just evolved into that way after a lifetime on top. Who knows? But Tommy, like all the legends I met in Jackson, exceeded my expectations. And after skiing with Tommy, the Outside Life crew did what they do best. They opened up a tab at the Mangy Moose, and we got loose there for a few hours. I then met up with Seattle friends Alexis Altman and Ann Thomas at Calico, arguably the best pizza in Jackson Hole, and then I headed back to my cabin. At night, it was loud. I mean, there are 800 college kids there. The Outside Life crews rented 4 properties to completion, so it's all college kids at all of these places. And at one point, I just wanted to see the debauchery that was going on, or the madness, and I walked outside of my cabin, and while I didn't see any humans because I didn't walk into the ring of cabins that they were in, I did hear some shit between a crew of guys and a crew of girls that almost made me blush, and I can't even repeat it on the podcast, but I heard it. I was like, wow, holy shit, and I walked back into my cabin and I went to bed. The next day is the big day. It's the party. We have the tram dock rented. We built a stage. There are 4 DJs with West End being the headliner. He's a dude from New York who's coming out. That's going to move everybody. I was on the mic throughout the day, and it was fun watching the college kids drink like I did when I was in college. It's nice to know that that shit still happens and that those kids on this trip, they had every detail of their sick party organized for them. And then they danced their face off in their ski boots and snowboard boots. It was awesome. On the mountain, the winds hit up to 90 miles per hour, so there was no way the tram was going to open. And while Tim Durtschi and Jason Strong were bummed that they couldn't shred up top, they were happy to have a hookup at the Outside Life party, and they joined us for some beers. If you don't know Tim, he did an episode a long time ago, and he's been a pro skier for almost 20 years. And if you didn't know Jason, because I didn't know Jason, well, he looks like a ski bum, he acts like a ski bum, and he is a ski bum. And he has a Jackson Hole Air Force patch to prove it, which means more than pro skierdom to the legends of Jackson Hole. But Jason was also a really cool dude. And here's me talking about gambling and other things Jackson with Jason and Tim.
So I'm with Jason Strong. We are at the tram dock, and you just broke out 5 dice. It's like noon. You broke out $4,300 in cash in front of me, which like no ski bum in Jackson Hole walks around with $4,300 cash, but you do. Why do you have that money on you?
Because we're playing a game here. You're trying to win the pot. You're trying to roll 5 of a kind to win the pot. And, it used to be a bar game that we played at all the bars around here, and they stopped playing it around the COVID time. So I started my own on-mountain shake-a-day, and it is the only shake-a-day ever played outside of a bar on the mountain like this.
So people are rolling dice in the gondola and stuff like that?
We'll be playing at the bar, on the tram, on top of Cody Peak, anywhere in the backcountry. We'll be skiing lines, just stop at the bottom of the line, pull off the ski, and be playing right on top of the ski.
And who was the last person to win this, and how much did they win?
The last person to win it, I can't remember exactly who was the last one, but they won $2,600 and won it at the top of the tram in Corbett's cabin.
And that's pretty amazing, because that pays for like 2 weeks of rent here in this town, which is amazing.
Yeah, about 2 weeks. Yeah.
All right, I'm also here with Tim Durtschi. And Tim, early season's been pretty tough for you, huh?
Yeah, we haven't been skiing much POW, but we've been playing a lot of shake-a-day. I'm already maybe $30-40 deep this season.
So you keep going and going and going until you win that $4,300.
I'm invested at this point, but I'm determined to win, so I'm always chasing Jay Strong around, rolling dice.
And speaking of chasing Jay Strong around, well, it seemed like over the past few years you were chasing Kai Jones around, and then you just brought up that you were skiing a lot with Tommy Moe's daughter, and she might be the best skier, the women's skier out there right now.
Oh yeah, Taryn Moe, remember that name. She's a very talented skier. Love skiing with Tommy. He's out here every day ripping. Just a good crew out here in Jackson all around.
And what's your season look like this year? Do you not know yet, and you're going to plan it out as the snow comes?
Yeah, I mean, we're patient here. Slow start to the season, but get things rolling here. And yeah, no plans as of yet to leave, but we'll see where it snows and see how things shape up, maybe get up to AK.
And the business of skiing, you've been doing this for 20 years almost, it seems like. And who are the people that are still paying you? Because you still have paying sponsors and you're still rolling, right?
Oh yeah, keeping the dream alive and working with TGR. Always got plans to do something big, so we'll keep that going. For sure. And then who else sponsors you other than, you said TGR, but I was trying to give you a chance to shout out like Atomic or anybody that takes care of you. Atomic Skis, Overmeyer Outerwear, Backcountry Access, and getting lots of love and support from Jackson Hole here. Have you spent much time with Klaus Obermeyer? Because that dude is like, I think, the most legendary guy I've interviewed, and what a dude. Well, I just signed with Obermeyer. Never had the chance to meet Klaus yet, but hopefully get to do that. He seems like an amazing dude. Yeah, he's 106 years old, so you better do it soon. Absolutely. Would love to meet the man.
The really cool thing about that gambling interaction was that I ponied up $1 and I rolled the dice and I lost very quickly. That's not the cool part. But after me, Austin wanted to play. And Jason was like, sorry, man, this is for locals only. And Austin is like, Mike's not a local. And Jason was like, yeah, he's Powell. He can play the game. But if you were to play it and you were to win, people would be really bummed that it wasn't a local who won. And that was really cool to me. While I deserve 0 street credit whatsoever, it was cool to get a little bit. So we drank beers most of the day, and then I'd go do my part when needed. And I'm calling out that I was drinking all day, just so you know when you hear me talking to Sick Rick that I had a few in me when we had that conversation. But we are not there yet. After the West End show, I caught a ride to my cabin, I changed, and within 5 minutes, I was on my way to meet up with Jackson Hole royalty, a dude known for going huge before anyone else was doing it. I am talking about Sick Rick Armstrong, a guy who's been through it all. A badass skier, a self-made man, a 2-time cancer survivor, and an all-around kind human. And I know I sound like a broken record, but the legends of Jackson that I met this trip, they were all kind humans. And then there was Tim and Jason. But you know what? Tim and Jason were more ski bros who are eventually going to be those kind yogas to all the younger bucks out there. I mean, Tim's already showing that he's taking youngsters under his wing. But either way, here's Sick Rick.
What bar are we at? It's like one of the famous ones, right?
Meet me at the Ward Hotel. That's the famous thing. Meet me at the Ward. Legendary bar.
And this is a $silver bar, I guess?
The $silver bar.
Okay, so I've heard of the $silver bar. I didn't know the Ward Hotel. We're in a bar right now where I look behind me and you say like the one of the greatest kayakers who's ever lived is right behind us, right?
Yeah, Ole Olafson. He's ridiculous.
Legendary, right?
Legendary.
And that's just like shit that happens in Jackson Hole. It's like you can look around, you see 4 other dudes that are like, that's a legend in this sport, that's a legend here. Then there's famous people and all mixed together here.
Yeah, everybody's kind of bumping around, doing their own thing, but there is an energy here that the mountains bring to life, right? So we are a product of that mountain energy. And all these people, a lot of us have been like, Ole, he's been here for friggin' ever. That energy exudes from him. You hang out with him, he doesn't say much. I'll sit there and look at you with a funny smile, but he's done some stuff.
Yeah.
And gnarly stuff, and I mean gnarly. First kayak descents all over the world. And you even just walking around, going to the bars, and you see ponying up at the bar, this group of people, and you just know that they've been out doing something.
And it's like everyone in this town is good, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like you go to the mountain and no one sucks unless they're a tourist.
And nobody ever talks about being good either. They're always, Swiss Island Deep, man. It's like under the radar. And even that still kind of plays here. It still plays.
I was at a bar earlier with one of the Air Force guys that I told you I couldn't remember his name, and I will figure it out later on. But he had one of the mugs. Do you know the whole mug club? Have you heard about that?
Yeah, of course.
Did that piss you off when they gave all the rich people the mugs and then the locals couldn't get them?
Yeah, that was. You always had to have an in on the mugs. And they did that, but then they realized it wasn't a good call, and they gave them back to lunch.
Okay, well, because this guy's really bummed that he did get a mug, but a lot of other people didn't get a mug. But Tim Durtschi was there with us, and I said, hey, Tim, when Jason's not with you at the bar, why don't you just use his mug? Because if you use a mug, you get 25 ounces of beer for the price of 16 ounces, which is pretty sick. So he's like, because that guy's mug has a Jackson Hole Air Force sticker, and I could never drink out of that mug because I don't have that. And that's just how that shit works, right?
There's some respect to be done. Yeah, you do always, respect where you came from and the ones that set down the path, right?
And Tim's a bigger name than that guy probably has ever been in skiing, but Tim knows that guy is a legend in this town, and you don't drink out of his beer glass.
Tim's a badass too.
True, but he's not an Air Force guy.
No,
right?
I mean, I'm sure he's on the path. He's going to get handed a patch for sure. If he hasn't, I'm going to make sure that happens.
All right, well there you go. That's on record right now.
I'll talk to the boys. Yeah, the powers that be. Mr. Benny Wilson.
So we also talked about you having a gallery, a 7,000 square foot gallery down the street, which is crazy. You had another gallery behind us, and now you don't have galleries and you just live the good life. Are you bored?
A little bit, yeah. No. I ski with my kids, but I need to get back onto some kind of program. I'm gonna start flying my paraglider more. Because I'm into paragliding. I always have been. And I need to scare myself a little bit more.
Okay, because does life get boring when you don't have something other than skiing?
Yeah, you got to do stuff. And skiing's amazing, but we're running like Jackson Hole this right now. Lowest I've ever seen it down low. This is wild. This is one of those years. And up high we got a little bit of snow, but we are dry boat. We would call that dry docked down here at the bottom. We're waiting for it to come through. And I have green grass in my yard in Jackson Hole on December 17th or whatever today is.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've never seen it like that. Nice. So, but no, I'm stoked. I'm stoked to be here. Stoked to be sitting here with Powell at one of my favorite watering holes, talking about skiing and talking about the good times, and and also talking about how important the Powell Movement is, man. And I want to just say, from me to you, thank you for documenting these stories for us, because as I just said, if these stories don't get documented, they get lost. And when we lose these stories, they're gone forever. And these stories mean something. They mean something, a time, a place, and an era, and a movement. You know, and everybody that's out there skiing on the hill today owes a little bit to someone that's been you've taken into your purview to interview. And some way or another, they had an effect on what happens today. And so I just want to thank you as a ski bum for documenting that stuff. It means the world to me. And I think it's going to mean the world to everybody. It's just going to get more valuable as time goes by.
Well, I appreciate that. You guys did all the work. I just asked all the questions. It's super easy. I just grew up reading the articles and seeing what you guys did, and then it's easy for me to remember and ask about it. So thank you. That means a lot.
No, you mean a lot to us.
So Sick Rick and I chatted over a couple beers, and eventually Chris Davenport getting screwed by Peak Skis came up, and Rick was like, I was screwed over by Kesley. So I broke out the recorder again, and I got a story of Sick Rick getting screwed over. And he's not really one to throw people under the bus, but I think he felt he had to here.
I'll throw that guy under the bus.
We're not trying to throw people under the bus, but it's a true story of your life, right?
No, it's
so
a
we
true
might
story.
as well start and talk about it.
When I was with Kesley Skis back in, I don't know the year, honestly, I can't remember. But I had full-time sponsored checks, and I had spent all my money from my own money on the heli things, but I had a contract that they were going to reimburse me for. And it was $18,000, which was a pretty good contract. For them, it was huge money to me.
For sure.
But I had a written contract from Kesley Sports. Mike Bickner became the president. And I had already had that contract in. It was already signed. It was signed, and he signed it. But then when it came time to pay, he just never paid me. And I blew both my knees out that year. So I had a double blown knees. So I went and got double knee surgery all at once, expecting them to send me money, and they never sent it. And so my wife, Holly Armstrong, who's the raddest chick in the world, she had to support me. The only time in my life I ever had to be supported, because I spent all my money thinking that I was going to get reimbursed from Kesley and Mike Bickner. But here's the real cool story. So I got invited to the Ski Hall of Fame, and they had it in Park City, and one of my buddies, Ross Anderson, who you need to interview.
Okay.
Fastest American ever on skis. Sick.
Like speed skier.
Yeah.
Okay.
No one's gone faster. No American's gone faster.
Okay.
My brother. I love him. But I got invited to go to this thing, and I get invited to this party. I'm sitting there, and this guy, Mike Bickner, comes in. He doesn't recognize me.
And he's the guy that screwed you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And my buddy who's throwing this whole party, and I just bought some oxen stuff, and I helped some other guys buy some oxen stuff. He goes, oh, I want you to meet Rick Armstrong, this Mike Bickner. And I go, I know Mike Bickner. He owes me $18,000. The guy, I wouldn't trust him with your anything. And the guy's just sitting there in front of, this is a big, and I'm like, no, he owes me $18,000. And the guy's like, what are you? I'm like, yeah, remember that sign thing? We had all this, remember when you didn't pay me and you stiffed me? And it was one of my favorite moments, because the poor guy was like drop job.
Yeah.
And he's going, I'm like, dude, you still owe me $18,000. And I'm like, hey, I wouldn't take a check from this guy. I'm fully just sitting there going, don't take a check from him for any of this stuff.
This
and
guy's
like,
a fucking asshole.
You might want to get this guy out of here. Yeah. It's so funny. So he turned full red, and he knew he couldn't say anything about it. But the ski industry had its ways, right?
Well, that was the most you've been screwed in the ski industry.
Well, and then
we talked about, because you and I were talking about Davenport from my interview a couple weeks ago, and I said he got screwed by Peak Skis, and that was your being screwed by Kesley.
But that was a good thing. And here's why. Because it took me to Bruno Bertrand with Solomon, BB. And as soon as it took me to BB and to the whole Solomon team and Jenny, the mom, it made my life better, because those people were soul cats. They were real soul skiers. They got the picture, and I stayed with Solomon forever.
Yeah.
You know? And so it was a good thing. So you always got to look at, when bad stuff happens, you never know what's going to lead you. It could easily lead you to good things. And that was the case.
Nice. I've got to go beat these guys.
Sick Rick and I left the restaurant together and headed over to a sushi place where the Outside Life crew was. Rick, with the energy that he brings, he made a big impression on the crew, and then he headed out. And while I'm not the biggest sushi guy, I am a team player, and when I get sushi, I love it when it comes from the middle of this country. And the sushi was amazing in Jackson Hole. So thank you for that incredible meal, Outside Life. After dinner was done, while the Outside Life crew was contemplating checking out the college karaoke night, I was done. I went to my hotel, I crashed out, and I planned on waking up in the morning, eating, and then heading to the airport. But when I woke up, I got the text I had been waiting for, another legendary figure, the dude responsible for the most iconic Jackson Hole photos ever. Wade Mckoy shot me a text and told me to meet him at the Mountain Stash print house. I thought this was a coffee shop, so I just walked in when I got there. It wasn't a coffee shop, and I think I might have startled the main dude there, Scott Davidson. He's like an old-time photo and print wizard, and then some in Jackson. And I chatted with Scott for a minute, and then I got to meet the man himself, Wade Mckoy, and he chatted me up for a few.
Scott Davidson, this is the Artist Collective here in Jackson Hole. What do we have going on here?
We got Wade Mckoy, the legendary photographer of Jackson Hole. We're going to do a little book signing here and then get some stuff distributed for the holidays.
And then you just showed me a grand tour of your studio here, and you have cameras from like the 1920s. It's not like even medium format. It's like the large format giant slides that you're shooting.
Absolutely. So yeah, I focus myself on film photography, but what I do is I photograph artwork for people for distribution and so that they can actually make reproductions and prints of their artwork and ship all over the world.
And then you work with guys like Wade here, who's a legend in Jackson and skiing and everything. What other legends do you work with just living in Jackson?
You know, I work with a lot of local artists here. I actually do a lot of work with the Wildlife Museum here, but I work with Amy Ringholds. I worked with Rick Sick Armstrong before in the past, Wendell Fields, Connor Lilderstrom, Brian Iguchi. All these living legends that are still great artists.
That's awesome. And then I'm here with Wade Mckoy, who's been on the podcast before. Wade, you're signing your book, The Arc of Skiing. It's your life and times here of Jackson Hole shooting. And it's Christmas time. Everybody should buy this book. I'm looking at it now. How'd it do? It's been out for like a year.
No, it's been out since February. So it's been out about 6 months, and I think I'm approaching 1,500 books sold.
Oh, no way. That's incredible. So you're doing well with the book?
I'm so stoked.
Yeah, man. How many do you make? Like 2,000?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
And then so you'll get through this, and then you're going to have to do another rerun in a couple of years, and that's pretty exciting, right?
It is exciting, especially since you can make some corrections.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, this is your life's work, so you've been able to take your life's work, put it into book form, and then sell it. Wade's whispering that I'm great, but I'm not great. I'm just asking a couple questions, and you can take your life's work, put it into a book, and then you can sell it, and it's kind of like you can make money off of your life's work and then just kind of enjoy the fruits of your labor now.
Well, it does work out that way, and I was pointing at you because you're a great interviewer, and I just wanted to let Scott Davidson know that that's how I felt about you.
Well, thank you, Wade.
But, yeah, it's, full circle, and I'm so thrilled that it's popular. I worked on it for 5 years and definitely kind of just bared my soul in it. I got, way more personal than, you really may think you might want to do, but there it is.
All right. Well, I'm excited to get my own copy. I'm excited to meet you here in person finally. And thank you. It's snowing in Jackson Hole. You're going to ski today, for the first day of the season?
Yep, because I've been too busy with the book, and we had some housework that we had to finish before winter set in. And the 50-degree days in December, nice weather, no wind. It was just weird. And now it has changed. It's snowing. It's cold. There were record-breaking winds yesterday. There was 140 mile an hour in central Wyoming, and it was hurricane force winds, and it broke a record.
So winter's here.
Winter is here, and everybody's excited. The tram opened today.
I'm a day late because I'm on a plane in about 45 minutes, but...
Ouch.
After Wade, Scott, and I chatted, Wade signed a copy of his award-winning book, The Arc of Skiing Jackson Hole, for me, and then he sent me on my way. You can get yourself a copy of Wade's book with all your Christmas money or any extra money that you have over at wademckoy.com. And I'll say, Wade has been so helpful to me behind the scenes when I've needed anything. And so is Rick, and so is Tommy when I think of it. That's really like all the legends of Jackson Hole that I've met. They have been some of the most helpful people with this podcast over the past couple years, and I guess that's because they're just super concerned with documenting the history of these sports, and it's cool that the most legendary and iconic people have been the most helpful. So thank you, Wade. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Sick Rick. Thank you, everyone involved in this podcast this week. Finally, one of the cooler parts of sitting and listening to Wade and Scott shoot the shit was hearing Scott talk about, hey, I was going to go sledding the other day with Brian Iguchi, and well, that's probably what he does on a regular basis, and it's no big deal to him. Just me hearing that, it just made me think 18-year-old Mike would shit his pants, where 50-year-old Mike is like, holy shit, that's crazy, and they're still living it. But that's the podcast. I want to thank you for listening. I want to apologize to Teton Village Sports for ruining a pair of their demo skis. I want to thank Austin at Outside Life for getting the insurance, and thank all of Outside Life for bringing me on this trip. I don't know how or why the ski industry doesn't know about you or tap into the resources of what you are doing, but you have created a shit ton of skiers out there, and you are part of keeping this industry healthy, all while partying your faces off and making college kids and graduates and MBAs have the most fun ever. It's exciting that you guys are getting into heli skiing as well with your OLX products, so there's going to be some more premium trips on the horizon, and I'm psyched for all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone else for listening, because if you're not listening, this podcast doesn't happen. And this podcast doesn't happen without some incredible sponsors. And those sponsors are Elan Skis, Outdoor Research, Stanley, Best Day Brewing, Thermic Heated Socks, and Ski Idaho. Have a great week, everyone.